Welcome to Sports on Tap, part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network. Go to their website at neosportsinsiders.com.
It's a good website.
Presented by RRT Productions.
Yes, we do go on the website, so we would know.
We do. And they upload all of our broadcasts on there. They also have some good high school articles on some different games, but they cover Cleveland sports, whether it's the Cavs, Indians, Browns, the
Lake Erie Monsters,
CSU Vikings. What other? I believe the Gladiators also they cover. So they cover quite a bit of different sports and also fantasy football. If you're big into fantasy football, they cover that as well.
Ryan Fowler podcast, right?
Yeah.
Brunswick's own.
That's right, man.
Fox Sports.
In Toledo up there. And also want to thank Z's Cream and Bean. They have us the first Thursday of every month usually. It's been that way for a long time, but we went on Monday this last time and had a nice turnout with the Buckeye Bucks and also Strongsville running back Zach
Khan
coming up, and that was a great interview.
Just doesn't have the same effect when I don't say Zach.
Oh, sorry.
And he told me that too when we were off. He's like, "Yeah, you do a good job."
But
Yeah.
Rob does it better, so.
No, no.
I don't think he said that.
No, I don't think he did either. I don't think he said any of it, but it sounded good.
But right now, we're going to talk about what's coming up in Week 12, the playoffs here coming up. We talked a little bit about who won and recap some of the games. Now, let's go over some of this coming up week's games, Josh, in the GCC.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, 3 out of the 4 GCC teams that did make the playoffs did win. Probably the toughest matchup of any of the teams. Well, they're all tough here on out, but the one that I'm looking at the most is the Solon Comets against the Stowe Monroe Falls
Bulldogs.
Thank you. Sorry, I had a little brain meltdown there. You know, Stowe, we talked about it, had great defensive performance, but their offense was really on key in their victory over Berea Mid-Park. They're the number 2 seed in the region, 11-0. In fact, they are the only undefeated team in this region. So this is going to be a tough test. Johnny Mooney, with his first aim against Olentangy Liberty, did not have a very good game. Threw 3 interceptions, only had 1 touchdown. He did do enough, though, to lead the Comets to a victory. But this is going to be a tough game. Stowe's got to be playing on an all-time effort offensively. If their defense plays as well as they did, they could, if they limit the mistakes and limit Stowe on what they could do, it could be good for them. But offense for Solon really needs to step up their game in this matchup. Another one on the other side of the bracket, as far as the GCC, we mentioned it briefly earlier. Number 8 Menor takes their 8-3 record against the number 1 overall seed St. Edward's Eagles. We kind of mentioned about the St. Ed's, their game week 1. I don't know if it was just a matter of fact that maybe they took Cleveland Heights a little too lightly, barring the suspensions that they had to key players and the win-loss record of their opponent. At any rate, they had a little bit of a scare, only winning 20-12 in their round 1. Menor came out in dominating classic Menor form. First playoff game with a nice victory over Glen Oak. Now, this is a game that these two teams have met before in the playoffs. You know, this is kind of your standard teams that you're going to be seeing year in and year out. Again, a really high-quality game. I'm interested to see if, again, Menor wants to pound the ball against the St. Ed's defense with Alex Matthews. You know, Tadas Tatarunas has had a quiet second half of the season. He's had a few good games here. Nothing like at the beginning of the year where he's come on strong. He had, for him, I would say a pedestrian game. A work-like effort. Nothing over the top. Jason Blizzard did get involved a lot, though, with his 3 touchdowns, 2 receiving and 1 rushing. This is going to be a good game, a classic powerhouse matchup that we'll see which Menor team comes out and performs this game. Finally, for the GCC, we have number 5 Euclid, who's riding a hot streak right now. They're going to go up against Westerville Central and their 10-1 record. Euclid needs to continue with their defensive game. They held Austintown Fitch to 75 yards of total offense the last game. They're going to need to do this against Westerville Central. Now, Euclid's by far been the best playing team in the GCC towards the second half of the season with some big victories. So I'm going to say if there is going to be an upset, Menor is obviously a good one, but I think St. Ed's kind of knocked themselves back into some reality with the way that they played. I'm going to go with number 5 Euclid beating Westerville Central in this one. I just think Euclid's playing at a high level right now, and Coach Roski has them on a mission right now. And I think they're going to be the team to watch out of the GCC this coming week.
Well, I think when you look at
oh, by the way, Rob, I should mention the other matchup is Toledo Whitmer against Olentangy. That's a number 3 and number 6 seed going head-to-head in the other part of the bracket. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Whitmer is a very tough team. They're always in the playoffs. And, I had the chance to follow Avon Lake to Toledo Whitmer a few years ago. And, I mean, they have a really good following. It's a great stadium if they are playing up there. And, Whitmer's one of those teams. They really have some loyal fans and some hard-nosed players that are really physical. So that should be a good game there.
That game will take place at Tiffin Columbian Stadium.
That's a great stadium in Fremont.
That's Tiffin.
Tiffin.
Tiffin's in Ada.
Oh, that's right. I've seen Tiffin Columbiana play actually.
Yep.
So
not Ada. That's where like Heidelberg plays in Tiffin.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, St. Ed's and Menor will play at Byers Field. Westerville Central and Euclid will play at Mansfield Arlen Field. This is a good one. Solon and Stowe Monroe Falls will play at Infocision Stadium, University of Akron. And then Olentangy and Whitmer do play at Columbian. So some nice stadiums for some nice playoff games.
And Whitmer is coming off a loss or a win versus Canton McKinley. So
yeah, they'd have to.
Yeah,
come off.
That's right. But, in the playoffs, like you said, you just never know what can happen. It's going to be some good football being played there. But Menor, this is what they prepare for all in the offseason. They have programs, and all these teams do, is to make it this far and really compete with the big boys. So, I can see Menor really giving St. Ed's a hard time.
I do, too. It seems like this year kind of Menor's played, I don't want to say played down to the level of competition, but they played up for the big games. The prime example is early week 2, I believe, when they played Ignatius, although Ignatius really didn't turn out to be the team that we all expect them to be. But still, that was a high-scoring, a highly publicized affair. And then, Euclid will have the games where they look – Menor will have those games where they look like the Menor team that we all know. And then they come out and last game of the season lose to an Elyria team.
Even against Brunswick too. I mean, that's a 20-10 win over us, over Brunswick. I mean, that's another kind of example to your point there. I think what Menor needs to do is continue with Alex Matthews and have Todd Arunas kind of feed off of that. I think Todd Arunas, he's only a sophomore. I think it's a little much to ask him to try to win a game for you.
Right.
So I think the more that they can get accomplished with Matthews and getting Blizzard involved, without having to rely on Todd Arunas throwing the ball 40 times a game is probably going to, at least this year, is going to benefit them a little bit more.
Yeah, and that's what's scary about it is the fact that he's only a sophomore. He started all the games this year, and the thing is, if they need him to, he can make all the plays. It's just, like you said, being a young kid, you don't really want to rely on that. You go with your staple, your seniors that you have. But Menor has the full capability of pulling off a big upset if they come out to play. I think, though, it's going to be difficult, again, with Eds. And I think Coach Lombardo is going to have them really buckle down and really playing well because they're not playing Cleveland Heights this week. They're coming and playing against the Menor Cardinals.
Yeah, they better be ready. It's going to be a fun game to watch. And now some of the games in D2 Region 4 that were from the Southwestern Conference as Avon, as they're 10-1 rather, as they play Perrysburg, who's 11-0. Both coming off some solid wins. Perrysburg just dominated North Ridgeville from start to finish, and Avon played a very good Highland team, but they dominated that game. So this game is going to be, I could see some pretty good offense going on, but Perrysburg known for defense as well. So I'm interested to see how Perrysburg's defense is going to match up with a very potent Avon offense when Jake Sopko and Garrett Choate also there. The other game has Cleveland Glenville
This is going to be a good
at
game.
10-1
Yeah, it is.
versus Midview at 11-0, and this is one where Midview's really going to have to have their A game against a Cleveland Glenville team who everybody thought they might be down this year. They only have one loss on the year, but this is going to be a very physical game, and we know what Midview can do offensively. Now, can Midview's defense stop an athletic Glenville offense? I think that's going to be a fun one to watch, and that's going to be played, I believe, in Avon Lake. So that's going to be fun to watch. Logan Bolin, Dustin Crum, Dimitri Redwood, all those guys on offense. Can the Midview defense step up? And they've been stepping up. They stopped a very good actually, it wasn't Highland. It was Olmsted Falls team. They did give up, some rushes to Spencer, Linville, and Olmsted Falls. Now, is Cleveland Glenville, are they a team that's going to run the football or air it out? I think they'd be successful maybe running a little bit against Midview, but Midview's defense seems to step up when they need to.
Yeah, and this is going to be a great match. Like you said, this is going to be a great matchup between the Middies and the Tar Blooders. The thing with Glenville, the thing that usually fells them, that they fall to in tournament games like this is really just discipline. And you need to be disciplined to play this Midview team. The Midview can beat you in so many different ways with Crum and Logan Bolin. Glenville just needs to not beat themselves. And, costly penalties at the worst times, that usually gets them in trouble. And usually once they get one, it compounds into more. And, they set themselves up and they dig themselves holes that they can't get them in. Against a Midview team, you're not going to be able to get out of. It was a pretty tight game for most of the game that Glenville had against Holland Springfield before they pulled away at the end. Midview had the same issue going on with Olmsted Falls. It was back and forth for a little bit, and then they were able to finally overtake Olmsted Falls. But this is going to be a high-octane matchup out in Avon Lake, and this will be definitely the game. Both these contests are going to be great. Perrysburg is good. They're very good.
They're a disciplined team, too, defensively and offensively. They just don't make a lot of mistakes. So, yeah, I agree with you. These are both going to be great games.
Absolutely. All right, well, we'll dig into Division II, Region 3, where, oddly enough, the two teams that are left out of two of my teams that are left actually play each other. This is a rematch of a Suburban League National Division matchup. This was a Week 4 rematch between the Hudson Explorers, the number 5 seed, against the number 8 seed Nordonia Knights. In Week 4, Hudson defeated Nordonia 21-7. This was one of those classic tough battles between these two schools, and I expect the same to happen for this game going forward. Now Hudson has had very good success stopping the other team's running backs, and you can argue there's really no one hotter right now than Anthony Perrine for Nordonia.
Optimus Perrine.
Optimus Perrine has put up multi-touchdown games, and for the most part, he scored, I believe, 6 a couple weeks ago. He had 5 last week against Aurora. It's going to be him. You also have quarterback Justin Post and wide receiver Tyler Soltis for Nordonia that they need to deal with. They have a nice little 3-headed monster there of offense for Nordonia. Hudson's defense comes to play though, and with Roman Moreno playing both ways, he's a good running back. He's a great linebacker. Jackson Parker was hurt last week. He actually did not play, so we'll monitor his status. Hopefully he'll be able to play this week against Nordonia. And Matt Restifo, he's a dual threat as well as a receiver and as a running back. He also took back a touchdown or a kickoff return for a touchdown last week in their game against Copley. So, this is a very, 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 very intriguing matchup. It's tough to beat the same team twice in a year.
Mm-hmm.
They know the book on each other, and now it's been 7 weeks since they last played, so you can reasonably assume that something's changed for both teams. But I think this is gonna be just a great battle. 7:30. This will take place at Bedford Bearcat Stadium. In the other matchup, number 7 Warren G. Harding. They are 8-3. They're going to take on number 3 Mayfield. at Solon Stewart Field. Mayfield is 10-1. Mayfield also owns a victory over Macedonia Nordonia this year. So I mean, pretty good games in Division II, Region 3 as well. Going into week 2 of the playoffs.
Yeah, the Nordonia Hudson game, it's fun because, with the way that the regions and the divisions are set up, it doesn't happen, it seems, too often that conference teams play each other in the playoffs. That's why, Ed mentioned it's very hard to beat a team twice in one season, because a lot of times it doesn't really happen. So this is going to be a fun and interesting game to watch at Bedford Bearcat Stadium, just to see if Hudson can continue their hot streak. And Nordonia, we'll see how they react coming off of a huge win against number 1 Aurora.
And I think we got to see during the year what Nordonia was all about, seeing Optimus Perrine go against Brecksville. Brecksville, that was a high-scoring game, and, I think that was almost Nordonia really getting on track, and it seemed like they carried on from there and really gained some confidence. Hudson's defense is going to be tough, and I think that's the main thing to watch is Hudson's defense. Can they contain Optimus Perrine? I just don't know. I mean, not many teams have been able to
hope not,
contain.
because I hope we can continue to say that name.
I know. I wish we would have started this a long time
I'm
ago.
sure that's not the first time he's heard that, but it's the first time we said it.
We need to tweet at him and see if he's heard that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
And if you are listening to us and do not follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at SOT Podcast.
That's right. We're on Twitter. We're also on Facebook. YouTube is where we also archive our shows, but we're on neosportsinsiders.com. We're on iTunes, Podomatic. We're all over the place, so if you want to listen to any of these, we do archive them, and we're also live on Mixlr right now, as a matter of fact.
Indeed.
Well, let's take a quick look at Division 3, Region 7. Where
you read my
Buckeye-
mind, Ed. That was actually what I was going to talk about next.
Yeah, where Buckeye did reside. Unfortunately,
How about that?
Unfortunately, they were the victims of a 35-28 overtime loss to Chesterland. Triple overtime loss at that, to a number 6 Chesterland West Geauga. West Geauga will take on number 2 Akron St. Vincent St. Mary, 10-1. That game will take place Friday night, 7:30 at Ravenna. The other matchup, my God, Akron Archbishop Hoban will take on number 5 the Louisville Leopards, 10-1. That game will go down in Uniontown. Hoban and St. Vincent St. Mary are just powerhouses, and quite frankly, good for Louisville for being able to take out Poland Seminary. They're also a very good team. I don't think Louisville's got the guns to take out Hoban, though.
Really?
Hoban and St. Vincent St. Mary are the class of this region, and I think we're going to see another version of the Akron Holy War in the regional championship here.
Oh. Hashtag Akron Holy War.
That's right. And, Archbishop Hoban actually came off a win 35-21 versus New Philadelphia. New Philadelphia was 8-3. And you look at Louisville, they won 42-7 over Poland Seminary. And then St. Vincent St. Mary 49-28 winners over Canfield. So some big wins there. Really no game. Archbishop Hoban, though, they had a little bit of a contest with New Philadelphia. I didn't follow that game, but 35-21 makes it look close, so I wonder how close that one was, if New Philadelphia got a score in the end, or who knows what happened. But, yeah, like you said, those are some big-time games coming up. And, West Geauga has its hands full with St. Vincent St. Mary. And Louisville, though, they've always had a really good program up there.
Absolutely.
So, Hoban, though, they've been solid all year round, just one loss for both teams. And now for all 4 of these teams, only one loss. So somebody's going to get 2 coming up in Week 12.
Yeah, and also in Division 3, Region 8, 2 other local teams playing each other. 11-0 defending state champion Cleveland Benedictine. They are going to take on number 5 Bay Village Bay at First Federal Lakewood Stadium. Bay is 10-1. This is a rematch of a contest from last year, I believe, in the regional championship. Benedictine was able to defeat the Bay Rockets in. So you got a tough contest there. And then Toledo Central Catholic 9-2 will take on Clyde at 10-1. That will go down in Millbury Lake Community Stadium somewhere in the northwest area. I'm not exactly sure where that is. And then another local team to us, at least, Parma Heights Holy Name. In Division 4 Regional 11, they are 8-3, coming off of a huge victory, a huge upset over Perry last week. It was 50-43. The neighbors really put up some points there. They're going to take on Mantua Crestwood at Macedonia Nordonia Stadium on Saturday night at 7 o'clock. So, good to see. It is good to see some of the teams we haven't really seen too much of, just due to how we cover our conferences. But definitely good luck to the local teams in their respective playoff games this week.
Yeah, and Bay is actually a team that I followed a lot last year because they played a lot of Southwestern Conference teams, and now the Southwestern Conference is a little bit different. But, Bay, what a year they've had, and they're a team that likes to run and run until they can get you with a pass. They don't like to pass if they don't have to, but just an overall strong team, very athletic kids, good defense. And this year, what a great year they've had, and hopefully they can continue it because they've been fun to watch. And, I know Buckeye played Rocky River. I'm not sure if Rocky River won their first round. I think they lost, but, they also had a great season. And, like I said, you don't get to see some of these teams that are in our area, but a lot made the playoffs, and some are still in. So it's going to be a fun Week 12. Right, Josh?
Right. I totally agree.
Dynamite dropping, Jeffy.
But, it's going to be fun catching up with these games, and, it's going to be winding down soon as the playoffs continue on and the teams keep dwindling. So good luck to everyone this coming up week on Friday, or if you play on Saturday. And, again, if you're on Twitter, use the hashtag SOTHSF. And we're at SOT Podcast on Twitter, so if you want any photos. Any last comments, guys, for this coming up playoffs? Matchups, games?
Good luck, and I'm really looking forward to the Hudson Nordonia game. I'm looking forward to seeing the result of that one.
It's going to be a lot of fun games.
I'm looking forward to the Solon Stowe Monroe Falls game. That's going to be a good one in my book. Also, Euclid Westerville Central. That's my upset of the week.
I really like both games from the Southwestern Conference. Avon against Perrysburg is going to be really good, but Glenville against Midview. Keep your eyes on that game. That's going to be a fun one. All right, guys. Another great week of high school football. I want to thank everyone for listening. Again, visit the neosportsinsiders.com website. Visit us on Twitter. Go up to Z's Cream and Bean. Go everywhere where we are. For Josh, Jeffy, Ed, Dick, I'm Rob Troutman. Thanks for listening. We're Sports on Tap, part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network, presented by RRT Productions. Have a great week, everyone.
For the best coverage of Cavs, Indians, and Browns, check out neosportsinsiders.com. neosportsinsiders.com brings you breaking news, opinions, and video from all things related to your favorite Cleveland sports teams. Like us on Facebook and follow at NEO Sports Insiders on Twitter for live updates from all the games. neosportsinsiders.com, bringing you the best in Northeast Ohio sports coverage.
Join Sports on Tap the first Thursday of every month at Z's Cream and Bean, 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley, Ohio, as Sports on Tap talks local Ohio high school sports, Cleveland sports, and national sports topics. It's all happening at Z's Cream and Bean the first Thursday of every month starting at 7:30 p.m. Join us. You're listening to Sports on Tap's Ohio High School football coverage live on Mixlr. Live streaming every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Remember to check us out on Twitter at SOT Podcast and use the hashtag SOTHSF to post score, stats, and pictures from all your high school football games. Like us on Facebook and listen to all of our archive shows on iTunes, YouTube,
and Potomatic. Again, our coverage starts every Monday night at 7:30 p.m. We're Sports on Tap.